Hello, Natalie. This is Ricardo Miranda, and it looks like I was assigned to take a look at your published portfolio page. And so this is I have that page here in front of me right now. And first of all, great job putting this together. Overall, um, all the pages are very clean and they're not cluttered, and it's a really great start. um I think that um I don't use Wix, so I have used it before, but so I was only slightly familiar with it. um and it does take some time getting used to some of the features for building the web pages, but I think that once you get familiar with those, being able to start from like a blank slate gives us, um, as page designers, a lot of flexibility and a lot of it gives us a little bit more control and creativity over how we design our pages. And I think um, we see that in the in the way that our pages are starting out just very clean. So also, I guess I'll go ahead and start making some comments here. I see your name and then your skill on here on the header, the way it's supposed to be. And I think that because of the font size that you're using, then the stacked vertical menu is totally fine, personally. And so moving on into, let's go here to the about page. I don't see, this looks totally fine. I like that you use the color contrast to set this content on the page apart from everything else. That looks great. Um, and it's got your picture and some information about you. Um, you're a digital cinematographer. Okay, great. And a little bit about what you enjoy, combining technical skill and creativity. You use your Sony FX6. Okay, that's all great. I see your copyright here on the footer. All right. So no comments here on the about page. On the portfolio page, first of all, again, you're using the contrast to set this content apart from everything else. Oh, I do notice a little bit of overlap here with I love that you're using the carousel, which is great when you have like you want the user to be able to scroll through the different pictures or thumbnails. I love this carousel feature. Yeah, and it's just actually something I just noticed now on here. That's the fact that the carousel pictures or the carousel thumbnails overlap just slightly from the contrasting background. Um, and so let's see. Yes, so the one thing that I will annotate on the checklist is that when I go to any one of these content items, if I click on it, I think that we're supposed to have asset guide information like title, description, stuff like that for these. I think that you know those would be um, those are obviously optional, like when we're making our pages. I'm just calling it out because it was an assignment requirement. While I'm on here, I love this perfume shallow depth of field picture that you have here. That looks beautiful. That looks gorgeous. I love it. Um, so let's go back to the main portfolio page here. Um, so I mentioned the asset guide info. And then also another thing I noted is that on the contacts page, I noticed that your email is linked. Great. I didn't see any social media icons. So just one thing to note there. Oh, and the last thing is, and I think I got lucky on this myself. I didn't realize this until I actually read it for this assignment, is that I noticed that the checklist says freeze header. And on all the other pages, that's not an issue because the content is doesn't go beyond this point, right? But then when we get to the contacts page, the header does scroll, and so you just got to go in there and freeze it. Yeah, so again, let's see, drawing this page review here to a close, I would just, as far as the inquire part of our RISE model, I would just ask if you would consider, because you have different types of content on here. You have pictures, you have videos, um, mostly just pictures and videos, right? So I would say, would you consider, now I guess it works here because you only have two types of content, but even then one question I would ask is if you would consider using this portfolio page as a gallery where you would have potentially two separate buttons or let's see, like two bins, and I know that's not the right word, but two containers for the different types of content. So you would have one link for videos or films, and then another link for your photography. And this could be this main page, this main portfolio page could be a sort of gallery. And I think that's one thing you could consider. But all in all, this portfolio page here captures a lot of the stuff that you've worked on. Again, it's very clean. It looks good. I like the contrast. And one other comment I have is that the contrasting background on your about in your portfolio are two different colors. So as far as like, if you're trying to create a specific um, branding, you would consider maybe using a specific kind of palette or matching backgrounds or something like that. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed looking at and reviewing your portfolio page. It looks great. Great job using Wix. Wix is not easy, especially if you don't use it initially. It does get easy once you get used to it, but yeah, great job just putting it together. And I wish you great success with your ongoing studies. All right, bye.